Yes, good people. Big up to all of you. I appreciate you all finding the time to join this particular edition of Live at Chelsea News. I hope you're all doing well. And once again, I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. Today, we will talk about Roman Abramovic, Todd Boehly, and co. And the possibility of Chelsea being fined or monitored for facing a monitor fine or points deduction. We will talk about what could be the most likely outcome. But by then, we will address some news items, and then before getting into the main topic of the day, which is could Chelsea face a monetary, a fine, or maybe points deduction. We'll discuss and try to come to a sensible conclusion on which of the two options will be the most likely. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, big up to all of you once again, and welcome back to this edition of Live at Chelsea News on Chelsea Perspective. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. We will discuss a few news items, and then we will talk about, the issue. We've been hearing in the news it has emerged again with even more incriminating reports. But we'll talk about it. Not going into the reports proper. Thank you. Chelsea director. I'm happy to see you in the eyes. Okay, I'm not the Chelsea director, but Douglas and Dunbar, I hope you're doing well. The future is certainly bright, and all that with regards to tomorrow. It can rain. Rain cannot catch a break. That is the truth. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Rain is asking the question: how about City? Here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. Do I think Chelsea did something bad? Yeah, I think so. But it doesn't. Whataboutism doesn't help us. We have our own issue; they have theirs. And if at the end of the day we face punishment, and they don't face any, and they end up not facing any for 110 accusations of financial breaches, then that's when I start asking questions. Because the truth remains, as a Chelsea fans, if I start looking beyond our own problems, and you could say immerse myself into what I call whataboutism and become what about City, then I will not be paying attention to our own issues. We have our own problems, and my concern is what sort of punishment are we going to face? City will most certainly face some measure of punishment. What will that end up being? I don't know. The truth remains they have a lot of money and probably will hire lots of lawyers to prolong the whole thing. It would take time before they face any sort of punishment. And we can go that route if we want to. We can do that also if we want to. But our case is different. And the truth is, we will face some measure of some sort of punishment. I don't know whether it be a monetary fine or maybe points deduction, but we'll think about it. Take a look at what we've done. And see whether whether we're going to face any sort of punishment with regards to the issue we're facing. But that's by the way, and big up to you too, Mitch boy. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. I hope you're doing well. You know what to do, Mitch boy. I have a show to host. Just share the link to your YouTube channel so people can go check it out and subscribe. And when I see that, then I'll read it. It's that time of the year, Jerry Z. Nice to see you, brother, and congratulations on the launch of your YouTube channel once more. You know what to do. When I get to it, I will read it and encourage people to go check it out. Jiboye Afiz is blue is the color. And yeah, I couldn't say it any better. And thank you for finding the time to say that. We will survive. We will beat the odds, in my opinion. I get it. Odds are against us. Maybe that's another way to see it. But I hope you understand my point. That's not saying I'm not a Chelsea fan. That's not saying that me. That's not me saying that Man City did not do anything wrong. But the truth remains, they have their own problems. We have ours. And crying about what punish asking questions. You can say, yeah, we have every right to ask questions of what punishments have they faced, given the fact that they're facing 110 charges of financial breaches. In my opinion, it doesn't help. If we stay here and start going, what about City? What about City tomorrow? It doesn't change anything. I'll start asking questions. If we face any sort of punishment and City ends up facing none, then that's where, a lot of people will ask questions, not just Chelsea Football Club. But right now, the point is we have a problem, and we have to face our own problems and not go start, you can say, the whataboutism of a thing that will not help us one bit, in my opinion. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Let's see if we can get as many as 100 likes by the time the show ends. But that's, by the way, let's start addressing the news items we have lined up. And once we're done with that, then we can start addressing other items we have lined up here. Let's see what else we have here in the blue Tiffle game. It's in the house. So much for being honest, coach. Maybe we should have adopted the Manchester City shady approach and denial all knowledge or all plea. That's the thing. Here's the thing. I think they will face a punishment, and the denial doesn't help them. But my point is, we shouldn't, because we have a problem. And then instead of talking about being, like you said, preparing to face any measure of punishment that the FA decided to, you can say preparing to face the punishment that will end up landing on us, for lack of a better language. It just doesn't make sense. Whataboutism doesn't help. We can talk about, City, they're facing 110 charges of breaching of financial rules. We can talk about that. But going, what about City, specifically saying what about City, doesn't change anything, in all honesty. But that's who I am. It doesn't change anything. We just have to, I want us to talk about, the potential punishment that we could face for our own issue. And the fact that I like it, that we're being upfront about it. We found the issue and reported it to to the appropriate authority. In my opinion, it's a strategy. And after doing that, we're now saying, it happened, but the owners are now saying, we're the new owners of the club, and we didn't do any of these things. And we've seen it, and we've reported it to you. That shows we want to keep it clean. If anything, that will lead to a reduced punishment, in my opinion. And it's a smart strategy. City, here's the thing, City, they cannot run away from it forever. They will at one point face punishment, and this will be much more severe than ours, because everything they've been accused of doing happened all under the new ownership. But in our case, I think it continued under the new ownership, maybe started before they took over, but it continued under their ownership. But in our case, we're taking a smart strategy. We saw it. We reported it to the appropriate authority. We're not denying it. We're just letting them know, look, it happened, but we didn't do it. And we have every right to argue we didn't do it. And it wouldn't now, to the FA, you can say they have a problem in saying, okay, you know what, we're going to deduct, Chelsea will face a point of deduction for something that the current ownership knew nothing about, that they didn't do, and they were the ones that reported it to the appropriate authorities. And had they not done that, chances are finding out will take a while before they even realize such happened on the previous ownership, in my opinion. So I get it, but I hope you understand my point. Let's see. I don't think we should have done that, because these days everything is streamlined. Just follow the money, and you'll find out if follow the money for any transaction. Then you end up finding out if there was shady, you can say, processes involved in the process, like the case of Barcelona. We learned a few months ago, the sort of contract they were handing to players, and how some shady, you can say, maneuvers went on behind the scenes during you can say, the process of signing certain players. In my opinion, coach, imagine while City have delayed their date. They have the money. They delayed it. They didn't. Because you would have to. You can say, like, when City's case emerged, I knew we talked about it, and I argued they have the money to hire the best lawyers in the UK or wherever they want to get them from, and delay the whole process by denying they didn't do anything. And then the FA has to also pay for lawyers to go to court. But in our case, I think we're confident that we're not going to face anything damaging. And after all, we've sorted the issue out with UEFA. We had to pay a fine. I can't quite recall how much we did pay. So my opinion, my point is this. You could say swinging, you could say yelling or screaming, what about City? What about City? It doesn't change anything. And to put it the way I know you'd put it, because it's Chelsea, it's going to be different. Yeah. So I'm glad the owners are approaching this issue the way they're doing right now. It's a smart move. And don't be surprised at the end of the day, we end up just paying a monetary fine and not even so much money, in my opinion. Coach, imagine why City have delayed their date with doom. They've literally won they've literally won three-peat trebles. It's worth considering it, as by the time the punishment comes, they will be in the Super League. Maybe. But my point is, I don't think, here's the thing. I think if City keeps delaying the punishment or whatever punishment it is that they will face in the future, as the FA considers, as they consider what sort of punishment that Chelsea will face, I think they will also consider the fact that whatever they do now, City will face such punishment in equal measure. You can deduct points from Chelsea, and tomorrow say Chelsea will not face any point deduction, and then Chelsea will ask you if City will not face any points deduction, and then Chelsea will not ask questions that you owe us. What are we going to do about the point deduction we faced already? So here's the thing. It just doesn't make sense to talk about City right now. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, except if we end up facing points deduction, then it becomes an issue. But right now, if we end up paying just a monetary fine, we'll wait and see what sort of punishment the City will face. But that's besides my argument right now. My argument is that whataboutism, it doesn't help us in any way. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Nice to see you in the house here. Chelsea, meet your boy. I hope you're doing well. So let's address the news items we have lined up. First of all, then we will start talking about the main topic for the day. The first item here is saying Napoli have not changed their position. They do not want to sell Victor Osimhen in January. Yeah, nothing new there. I knew that will always be the case, but it just doesn't make sense. If they don't sell him in January, which simply means that they are hoping to get him to put pen to paper for a new contract. And now, do I think there's a possibility that happens? I think yes. Because the truth remains, Saudis came and offered something extraordinary to him and to Napoli. And he, according to him, he spoke with the Napoli hierarchy and decided to stay. They were able to convince him not to go to Saudi, where he'd be probably, you could say, had he gone to Saudi, right now he'd be one of the highest paid players in world football, but he refused. So so maybe them not willing to sell him in January, maybe it's a strategy to get the clubs that are interested to pay something, to pay a premium to sign him, or maybe they're convinced they can get him to put pen to paper for a new contract. At this point, I just do not know. But we'll find out in due time. Let's see. Good day to you too, Oladipo Mesola. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. So let's address the news items. Some of the news items we have lined up. Then we will get to the main topic of the day, which is Chelsea's. You can say whether Chelsea will face a monetary fine or maybe a points deduction for breaching financial rules. We get to that in a bit. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Oh, Kevin, big up to you too. Oh, Kevin. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Please, if you're just joining, make sure to drop a like on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, the likes do go a long way. And quickly, I want to appeal to those of you who are watching, but for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you. And that's because you watching alone does go a long way. But I want to ask you for one favor, one tiny bitty favor, which is to take a second and drop a like on the stream for us. The likes do go a long way. Thank you so much for always supporting the community. So we move on from that. Here's Mitch. Just close down, Coach. Switch to you now. Are you doing something called continuous stream? Because I checked your YouTube channel. The stream is going on, and it says that particular stream has been on for 8 hours plus. So I'm guessing it's a continuous stream. Not too sure, but I'm just asking. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. And if you're watching, if you haven't, take a second, go check out Mitch's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. So let's move on to the next item we have lined up here so we can get to the main topic as soon as possible. Have this particular topic here with regards to Chelsea's new stadium project. We're not too sure what's going to happen right now. This particular report is saying Todd Boehly and Claire Lake are still understood to be assessing their stadium redevelopment options and have not committed to building a new stadium at Stamford Bridge, despite finalizing a land deal to purchase the 1.2 acre Oswald Stoll Mansion site. So yeah, I think at the time actually there were subsequent reports that mentioned something similar to these with regards to Chelsea's stadium project plan. And now it's clear they're not banked on redeveloping Stamford Bridge. They are open to move into a new site just to be able to build the sort of stadium with the sort of capacity they're looking to build. They're very ambitious. For me, I don't have any issue with them moving to a different side. But yeah, the locals, especially the issues with the Chelsea pitch owners, something to the effect of should they decide to move to another location, they'd have to drop the name Chelsea FC, except if they're able to get the Chelsea pitch owners to agree to the move, which I think they should actually agree to that. It's for the good of the club. It's for the progress of the club. They're not doing it for selfish reasons, in my opinion. Even if you think that's the case, it also helps expand. It also aids the growth of the club, in my opinion. I've let Roger play a half. You can play him for a half too. But I appreciate you, Michi, for that comment right there. I just streamed for 2 hours of 42 minutes, Coach. Maybe I'm quite sure I'm not blind. Something isn't quite right with the timing there, which says you've been streaming for 8 hours. But that's by the way. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We have 12 likes. We should be doing better than that. I don't understand the continuous thing you're talking about. I'm confused either. That's what's called continuous stream, where you stream for days at a stretch without breaking the stream. But that's by the way. It says, let me see what else he has there. It says, Chelsea perspective, can you share your rendering of the stadium you put up on Twitter? It would definitely work on the Ears Court site. Somebody responded. I think it was Godfrey saying, given the space we have, the stadium will not be most likely be a circular shape stadium, that it would be different, in my opinion. But let's hear you. I think I'll try to find out one and share it. The one I did with the AI, I think I've tweeted quite a lot and retweeted quite a lot after that, so probably will be difficult to find it. Yeah, let's see. Coach, the pitch owners would get destroyed in court, so that is not an issue. I think they have a very strong grounds in terms of the name of the club. Maybe I'm not well acquainted with the whole situation. What I've heard is that should the new owners decide to move to a different site, they'd have to forfeit the name Chelsea FC. So I'm not sure it would be wiser for the new owners to drag the Chelsea pitch owners to court. I think it would compound the whole situation. It would complicate the situation for maybe I don't know what other language to use. I don't think they should do that. It will not help in my opinion. So I think they should try to bring them to the table, have a good conversation with them, and educate them on the importance of Chelsea to build a new stadium that will be fitting to the history of the club. In my opinion, I think if they sit at the table with them, with the Chelsea pitch owners, make them understand they're not doing this for uh, selfish reasons. You could argue to some extent it is for selfish reasons because a bigger stadium means bigger income from match revenues and all that. But educate them that it is also good for the club. It also helps the club to grow and make more money, which will you can say in so many ways benefit even the fans too. I don't think they will fail if they try to get them you can say to sit and talk with them at the table. I think they will make progress, in my opinion. But let's see what happens. Yeah, let's see. In my again, my point is this: I don't think it will be helpful to drag the Chelsea pitch owners to court. I think the new owners will lose, or maybe end up forfeiting the name Chelsea FC. In my opinion, they saying we need to move from that stadium to you can say to a much bigger space. Maybe that will help. Big up to all of you, and let's see what else we have here. We needed to move from that breach. Okay, you've said it a couple of times, but Chelsea, Chelseaaholic, nice to see you. And Jerry has shared the link to his brand new YouTube channel. Please go check it out. Be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. Let's help him get to at least 100 as soon as possible. He says a blue board analysis is live. Uncover rationale and unique sports inside the go beyond the norm. Follow now. Yeah, the link is there. Go check it out and be sure to subscribe. Saying I think we should keep our stadium name, but it's not that simple. It's complicated. There's an agreement I've learned. I haven't seen it, but I think I've been educated by some of you could say people you could call Chelsea encyclopedia. That part of the agreement is that if Chelsea decides to move without sorting things out with the Chelsea pitch owners, they'd have to forfeit the name Chelsea FC, which is if the owners decide to forfeit the name Chelsea FC, it's a branding nightmare, in my opinion. It won't be easy. I get it. They can do it, but it's a branding nightmare. And I don't think they will go that route. I think they will try to iron things out with the Chelsea pitch owners. Those pitch owners are arrogant. I wouldn't go to the extent of saying that change is difficult. Change is certain, but the truth remains that change is difficult. Yep, I don't know if you've heard that saying before. They are not easy to speak with. The same way they could not work with Roman. I don't think they are responsible people. I wouldn't go to the extent of saying that. I think it will happen at some point in the future. Whether it happens now, I don't know. The new owners, they handle things differently. Money might come into play and get to say, yeah, we're moving, but we want to keep the name. And look, we're willing to offer this much money for charity, or since they say the Chelsea pitch owners, they don't earn anything from it. But I'm not too sure what's going to happen. We just have to follow the story here and see what happens, in my opinion. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go a long way. And please go check out Jude. Jude, please do share the link to your YouTube channel. I think the more subscribers you get, the more motivated you'd be to produce more content. You don't have to wait until it is perfect before you share the link here. You should see my first video. I'm quite sure probably by now you've seen it. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. We have 14 likes, but I think we should be doing better than that. And as soon as we're all caught up with the items we have lined up, I'm not going to stretch it close because, I have to go get my boy from school and also take him to his take him to where he goes for his violin lessons. And this following the other one, he says Chelsea are not in talks to purchase the former Eels Court exhibition center site for a potential relocation from Stamford Bridge. according to the company overseeing the multi-billion pounds at the redevelopment project. So I'm guessing the mindset is that if they're going to spend that much money to build a new stadium, why try to build it you can say at a place where they don't have, you can say, the independence to build the sort of structure they have in mind, where they'd be restricted in terms of the width, you can say, and the size of the capacity, and to build this, you can say, to build a stadium that will accommodate a certain number of people, they'd have to, yeah, dig into the ground to get to be able to make that happen. So it just doesn't make sense. So if I were a part of the ownership right now, I'd also, yeah, consider moving to a different site. But I hope to God they find a common ground with the Chelsea pitch owners with regards to the name Chelsea FC, because forfeiting that would create a branding nightmare for the new owners, and I don't think they would want to do that. But that's, by the way, we'll move on to the next item. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. We have 14 likes, and I think we can do better than that. Let's try and get the likes up as soon as we can. Let's see what else we have here. You're welcome. Yeah, I hope you understand my point. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up, people. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. Let's go for it. Yes, this one here is saying Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City are interested in signing Bayern Munich's Alonso Davies. What a player he is. The question is, I don't know. Let me check the length of his current contract. Would Bayern be willing to sell him? I think I read something where the Bayern director said something to me that implies they're not talking about selling Alonso Davies at this point. Let me see. Alonso Davis a contract. Let me see. Let me give you be sure I'm giving you correct information there. Davis's contract expires in 2025, so he has about just about 2 years left on his current contract. For me, I think they will find a way to extend his contract. I'm not too sure. Let me not just go too much into that, because I have not been paying attention on how many times he's played on the Thomas Tuchel. But I'll find out. That will say a lot with regards to whether he remains at Bayern or whether he leaves. But this says, again, the report in question says Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City are all interested in signing Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich's Alonso Davies. What a player he is! But we'll find out. But I don't think they'd let him go. But before saying that, definitely, again, that would definitely be the case. I'd have to see how many times he's played under Thomas Tuchel. That would give me a good idea as to whether Bayern will be looking to sell him or not. Yep, a lot of people that's the link to his YouTube channel. Please go check it out. Be sure to subscribe. Let's help him grow and get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. He releases good, you can say, educating Chelsea-related content, and I think you should go check it out. Let's see what else we have here. Yep, Mitchy Boy shares the link to his YouTube channel. Also, please go and subscribe to the second best YouTube channel, Chelsea Mitchy Boy. Go check it out. And I've always said this: if you enjoy the panelists that always that feature on Chelsea's perspective, believe me, you would thank me later if you go and check out Mitchy Boy's YouTube channel. If you haven't, Chelsea Holic says, I don't think I don't think he will. I don't think we will buy Alonso Davies. But I would love him at the breach. You can say just go with. You don't think that Bayern would sell him, but I'm not going to say that. That will definitely be the case. The Bayern will most definitely not sell Alonso Davies until I get to see how many times he's played under Thomas Tuchel. Then that will give you the idea whether he'd be looking to leave Bayern or whether he gets to stay. But we'll find out. That's precisely why I've chosen the channel name Blue Board Analysis, given all these speculations swirling around. Okay, good. But let's see. Correctly. Please go check out Jude's YouTube channel, calls Chelsea Jingles. Go check it out, CFC Jingles, and subscribe. Okay, enough of the promotions. Let's move on and discuss the items we have lined up here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. We need 7 more subscribers to get to 17,600. Yep, 17,600 subscribers. We're getting closer to 18,000 subscribers. 15 likes. We can do better than that. Let's see. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. All right, the next item, Chelsea are leading the race for Gabriel Moscato. He's valued at 26 million pounds by Corinthians. Here's the thing. I think, let me find that particular tweet there. Here's the surprising aspect. We missed out on him. We were interested in signing him. And at the time, we offered 18 million pounds for Gabriel Moscato, and they refused it. We missed out. He wanted to stay more. He wanted to remain at Corinthians to continue development at the time. But it looks like he will most likely leave Corinthians right now. But yeah, Barcelona wants him. I think Liverpool wants him, and also Arsenal wants him too. So which means he's not going to go for cheap. And yeah, now they're looking for 26 million. But rumors are that Chelsea are leading the race to sign the young Brazilian, who's a midfielder too. But the question I've been asking, what are we going to do with him? Really? I'm not too sure. What are we going to do with him? We have too many midfielders. We have, let's start counting. And I'm not quite sure what the sort of midfielder he is, but let's say from what I've seen so far, I think he's combative. He's a combative midfielder. He's that sort of midfielder. From what I've seen, the tackles and all that, the pace and his ability to read the game, you can say he's a box-to-box midfielder. Do we have which of our players right now would you say qualifies as a box-to-box midfielder? You can say Moses Caicedo can. Yeah, he can be a box-to-box midfielder. Lavia can be one. But I'm not too sure. Why are we looking to sign Gabriel Moscato? Maybe because it's more combative than the midfielders we have right now. I think he's a fine player, but it just doesn't make sense to be stockpiling these young players. I think at one point it will become an issue, in my opinion. Do I think we should sign him? I'm not too sure what to make of it right now, because that's not an area of concern for us. We're packed. We still have Connie Chukwuemeka, we have Enzo Fernandez, we have Leslie Gachiku, we have Moses Caicedo, we have Romeo Lavia, we still have the young Italian who's on loan at Leicester City. What's his name? At Leicester City, Cesare Casade. And then we have Andreas Santos, who's been on loan. And I'm not sure if he's actually appeared on the bench for once with them, or it just doesn't make sense signing another young player or talent without being sure where he fits in. And he's just 18. Yeah. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, says monetary fine. He says a monetary fine will be better. We'll get to that in a bit. We're not the ones to tell the FA what to do, but it looks like it will most likely be a monetary fine. One, we were upfront with it. We didn't wait until they hear it anywhere. We saw it, the irregularities in the accounting books, and reported it to the appropriate authority. To me, I don't think we should face any sort of punishment. But I think, do I think we end up not facing punishment? I don't think so. I think we will. But I think it will be a monetary fine, in my opinion. He's the second. Okay, thank you for saying that. We got a lot of inexperienced players. I don't think a Poch would want him. We need a striker. You can say the striker area is an area of concern. Defensive area, do we need a defender? I wouldn't say we need a defender. I don't think we need a defender right now because we have what's his name? We have okay. Let's go. Let's say even if Thiago Silva ends up leaving, and okay, we have Benoit Batashile, Levi Colwell. Who else? Axel Desasi. Am I missing anybody? 3 center backs. Yeah, maybe we need one more center back if we're talking about getting areas where we need to sign players for. But how about bringing back Bashir Humphrey? Did I even count Wesley Fofana? Axel Disasi, Levi Colwell, Benwa Bedeshile, Wesley Fofana to come back soon. Four center backs. I think we can actually do with that, in my opinion. But let's see. Maybe we need one more. But if we need one more, why not bring back Bashir Humphrey? But right now, given that it's just the Premier League and the Cup games, I don't think we should look to sign any other center back. Sign more center backs in the January transfer window. Cannot wait for Madueke on the 21's performance. We'll see that in a bit. Let's move on to the next item we have lined up. People keep dropping the likes on the stream. People who have 17 likes. But I think we should be doing better than that. But thank you, more importantly, for finding the time to join the show. You're all appreciated. Just give me a second here. I will get back to you. Let's move on, people. Get to the final news item. I want us to address that, and then we'll call it a day. This is saying exclusive. A former Chelsea owner, Roman Abramovic, used offshore vehicles to fund tens of millions in football-related expenses that ought to have been paid by the being paid for by the club. Leaked files suggests that experts say Chelsea could face a point deduction. Let's hear what you make of this particular report. I want to get your opinion on that. Let's hear you if you're listening there. For me, here's the thing. I'm gonna say what I said before because somebody in the chat said, "What about City?" And I'm gonna say that you have every right to say, "What about City?" But does it help us to say, "What about City?" It doesn't in any way. And one thing I like about the new owners is that what they did, they saw it, they reported it to the appropriate authorities, thereby, for me, or you could say, subsequently reducing the measure of punishment that we'll end up facing. Do I think it will be points deduction? I think it's unlikely because it'd be unfair for the fact that we saw it and we went to them and said, look, we were looking through you said the books and we found these irregularities and we thought we should report it to you, and we did just that. To me, I don't think we should face any serious punishment, but I think we still face some punishment, maybe monetary fine. We've sorted it out with UEFA. They fined us, and I can't quite remember how much we paid for that. But let's hear you, Bobby. You're in the house. I hope you're doing well. More importantly, what do you make of this report? Let's hear you. But thank you for joining me on the panel.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, I mean, look, I beg to differ. I really do beg to differ.
Go
We
ahead.
have to say what about City? We have to.
And
Any
the question is, what
legality,
does that change? Does that change anything
well,
for us? It doesn't.
it's a reference point. You know, legal issues are based on references. Judgments are conducted based on past judgments. You know, you build a case. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that when a case is made and a judgment is made, if there are no references, there's a reference system in law, just like there's a reference system in literature. There should be a reference system in this case. I think, yeah, you know, what they will do, but we don't have to be quiet and take it. The thing with Chelsea, we are always trying to be, oh, we're the fair ones. Oh, they call bad calls against us in football matches. Oh, don't worry, it will all work out in the end. It's always
Mm.
us seeking the line of fairness. That has to stop. There's a lot of unfairness thrown our way. Now, I know this is a little bit of old news anyway. It's being regurgitated because a lot of journalists they don't think they have any other sensational thing to put out there. And they always like to sensationalize Chelsea in a detrimental way. But the truth of the matter is that we have a club that faces not one, not two, but 115 financial charges. And they've been outstanding for more than a year. And what we're going to be talking about this old crap, this stuff
Okay,
that has
here's the
been.
question I have for you, Bobby. That's why we're here to have this conversation, and why
Oh,
I
yeah,
argue it doesn't help us to talk about City's case.
it does.
Have the City's case been closed? It hasn't.
The
They were
fact is,
charged already, but they're disputing it and probably still in court. Am I wrong? So talking about, let's say the city's case has been closed, and they end up not facing any sort of charges. Then we can reference theirs and say, what about city? What have you done to them? And in our case, I'm going to say this again. We're upfront about it. We found the irregularities and reported it to the appropriate authorities and said, look, we found this, and we thought we should let you know. And
yeah,
that's a smart move
yeah.
by the Chelsea owners. In my opinion, I think City will face punishment, and more punishment than any club in the Premier League
You sure?
has ever faced. So
You
I
sure?
don't think
Yeah,
we should be referencing that. The question is,
I,
what sort of
I,
punishment do you think we end up facing? Because I think we
I,
will. But go ahead.
I think you're crossing over two issues.
Hmm.
First of all, Chelsea Football Club as an entity, Blueco are not referencing City. They're not even talking about City.
That's what I'm saying. Why
They're
should we be
talking about.
referencing City? It doesn't
Let
help us.
me
That's my
let me
argument.
land. Let me land. They're talking about things that they have audited and discovered and they've exposed to try and show that their hands are clean. That's what they are doing. Now, the football authorities haven't even said what they're going to do about it. It's just the media.
Hmm.
And this is where we come in because the media are very, very fond of peddling bad press at Chelsea, and they're very influential. This sort of press can influence, whether you like it or not, it can influence whatever the penalty is that they can throw at Chelsea because they will highlight it, spotlight it, and try and tarnish the club that this exists at all and say that, oh, during the Roman Abramovich era, this and that happened, and the club should be penalized because they had an unfair advantage. We, as the fan base, have to say no. We can't keep taking this and staying quiet. We have to kick off
Okay,
big time.
how does how you say the fan base doesn't have to, we don't have to keep quiet, right?
No, we don't.
Here's the
How
thing.
it
Do
helps
you
the
think
club.
that Chelsea, let me ask you this. Do you think that Chelsea will end up not facing any measure of punishment or monetary fine, or or do you think Chelsea will be facing monetary fine, or do you think Chelsea will face
Coach,
points deduction, as a lot of people are saying?
co-
Because I think you've come to terms
coach,
right now that talking about City's
coach,
case doesn't change anything. Their case is
coach,
different.
as the fair gentleman that you
Mhm.
are becoming an extinct species in the world of today. Trial by media is where we are at. There's no fairness in this world. That people are using the media as a tool, a weapon. It is weaponized. And if you stay quiet, if you notice, the minority vocals are the people making the waves in the world today. If you stay quiet, you'll be drowned. We can't stay quiet. Whatever the entity, whatever the punishment, whatever the situation is thrown at the club, our
Mhm.
voice must be heard because that will influence what's going to happen. This will influence what's going to happen. The fact that the media has released it now is because they want the football authorities to take a punitive measure at the club and they probably want there to be a points deduction. This is why we have to point to Manchester City because that situation is unacceptable. You cannot have, they haven't even had a transfer ban that Chelsea had two transfer bans imposed on them for it wasn't even a financial discretion. It was a discretion based on a player that was or players that were taken into the club at that time into the academy, not into the first team, at well, slightly underaged. However, the permission from the parents and all that was secured. I won't go into that. It was a technicality. Let's put it that way.
Okay, Bobby,
A
let me ask you: do
technicality.
we know how the Chelsea's case differs from that with that of Manchester City?
We don't need to know. We need to play the publicity game. This is my
Okay, let me
point.
ask you. It doesn't.
This
The
is a
honest
hit
and the
piece,
honest I'm interested
coach.
is this in the first place. They're not. Here's the thing, Bobby. We have to be honest to ourselves. In all honesty, I don't think the sort of noise the fans make changes anything.
I think it does. I think it
In my
does. This
opinion,
is a
I get
hit
it. You're
piece.
entitled to your opinion, but in this case, I don't think it will.
Coach, coach,
If anything, it won't wield that much of an influence. Here's the question I want to
coach,
ask you, Bobby. But you're entitled
coach,
to your opinion. But go ahead, let's hear you, Bobby. You're saying something.
coach,
Yeah.
coach, you're a decent man, right? You're
Mm.
a decent man and it shows, but this is not
And
a
I think
decent
you are too.
world.
But let's hear you.
This, this,
Let's hear what you're
this is
saying. Yeah.
this is a media hit piece for impact, and it has its impact. I've seen clubs fined because of what was put out there in the media. I've seen players banned. I've seen all sorts of punitive measures taken about by the furore of the media. I've seen um, purchases of players, transfers taking place because of the media. Let's not be naive. We're not in a fair play world. You've got to kick off and you've got to shout. You've got to bitch. You've got to bitch. And this is a hit piece on Chelsea Football Club as usual. And we've got to push it back. And we have to put a spotlight where the spotlight should be put. And at the moment, it is Manchester City. Why? Why are you talking about Chelsea in this light in terms of a points deduction? And we have another club with 115 charges. This is a charge. It's not an accusation. It's a charge. And they're walking free. You're giving them accolades and praises and things. Nah, we can't be quiet. We need to kick off big time because they're trying to hurt us. And if we think all is fair in love and war, you're going to be walking into a huge problem if you say nothing. No, we should not say nothing. We have to kick back because they're kicking at us. The people writing all this and pushing it out on social media are doing it deliberately to hurt the club, like they do so many other things. And it is naive of
Yes,
us.
Bobby. I'm happy that you're the one that I'm having this conversation with right now on the panel
Yes,
here.
yes,
The
I'm
question I
glad
want to
you
ask you
are.
right now is this: what sort of what should the fans be saying that makes any sort of difference?
They should be saying what I'm saying. What about
Saying
Man City?
what exactly? Saying that what about City and that's it, or
Yeah,
saying that
no, and
City?
that this is a vindictive hit piece. Be
No,
clear of what your mind is.
here's
Don't
my
be
point, Bobby. I think the two cases differ.
doesn't matter.
Done it? Does it?
It doesn't matter, coach. A hit piece is a hit piece is a hit piece. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. The intent is the issue, and the intent is to hurt Chelsea Football Club. And we've been hurt enough. We've been hurt because of a Ukraine war we had absolutely nothing to do with. We had an owner who lost the club. We've been sent backwards in terms of our development and so many things, trading because of certain issues that came up that were basically political.
What, Bobby?
This
What? Let me
is
ask you this. I understand
malicious.
where you're coming from, and you know quite well that I love Chelsea as much as you love Chelsea.
Oh, yeah, I know you do.
Thank you. And
I know
it's a
you
good.
do.
We're
You're a
having a good
gentleman.
conversation, and that's why I like to have this sort of conversation with you because I know if anybody else, let's say Chelsea needs a lawyer and one doesn't exist, I know you can defend Chelsea. The
Oh,
question I
for
want to
sure.
ask you this: what do you make of the fact that Chelsea, after finding the irregularities, reported it to the appropriate authorities and also to UEFA, not just the FA, and had to
Hmm.
pay a fine?
Yeah,
They pay the
I
money to
believe.
fine. What do you
I.
make of the fact? Yes, then in our
Mm,
case, we've admitted something is wrong, but
mm,
the difference is that the owners are making it clear this didn't happen under our watch. It happened under the ownership, under the watch of the previous
the
ownership.
previous
We're just saying
ownership.
we
Yeah.
found it and we had to let you know. The
Look
fact
for.
is, no matter what we do, we have to face. We will face, and the fact I told the Bluetooth game when he was in the chat. No matter what we do, the fact that it. I told him let me say it from his perspective, how I know he'd say it, and because it's Chelsea, we will most definitely face some measure of punishment. The question
Yeah.
is now, what sort of punishment? Well, but the
Okay.
question is, what do you make of the fact that we've agreed something is wrong, and
Let.
UEFA had to say, okay, there's not much we can do because of, I think, when it happened, the length of
Hmm.
time that has passed since it happened. Well, okay, just pay a monetary fine. What do you make
Let.
of the
Let.
fact
Let me
that we did
answer
that?
it. Let
Mhm.
me answer this. What we did was the right thing. This is what you call when you produce the findings of your audit. And what we did was produce the findings of our self-auditing system
And
and
we don't have
reported
to
it.
really. We
Let,
don't
let
have
me
to.
land.
Mhm.
Exactly. We just reported it to the regulatory bodies saying, look, this has been found in our self-audit. Whether it is an infringement or not, we have to make it clear that we carried out our audit to make sure that our books are clean, and this did not occur during the ownership that exists now. What we did was the right thing, and to be fair to the authorities, they have to review it, they have to look at their regulations, and they have to take a certain action, and the action cannot be taken without consideration to the fact that they will probably have never discovered this for decades without Chelsea coming out and saying
That's
this.
the point.
Fine.
That's the point. That's
Let
the
me
area I
land.
want us to
Let
talk
me
about.
let
But
me
go
let
ahead.
me land because
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm coming to the crux of the matter now.
Mhm.
Now, gentlemen like you, fair-minded people like you will look at it for what it is in terms of the administrative formality. But the media, this is a vicious thing. They want to use it and hurt the club. What has happened by it being publicized in this way? Because there have been other issues. Man United paid a fine to UEFA recently. Chelsea, I think, paid some money to I think the same body recently for certain discrepancies. This happens all the time. If you go through any club in the Premier League with a fine tooth comb, you're going to find something. But Chelsea did their own auditing. What has happened? Certain spiteful members of the media have released this thing. It is a hit piece to magnify a situation greater than what it is, so that if there is a penalty, they can have a sensational adage to it to say that this is either too lenient or they need to make it more penal. It is a hit piece, and
So
as
you're
such,
saying they're trying to make the punishment to be more severe than it should be?
they are. That this is trial by media. The media is trying the club, and the authorities, they're trying to jump the authorities, they're trying to influence the authorities, and they're trying to hit the club. They're not playing it the gentleman's way, and people like me are not having it. If I have my way, I will hit back, and this is where we do hit back. We've got to say, call it out for what it is. We've got to point to all the other red flags flying around. The football's not clean. Why must you always want to make Chelsea Football Club the example? Football's not clean. Look what's happening with VAR. Look what's happening. As I keep saying, pick any club in the Premier League and run through them with a fine tooth comb and you find something. This is a club that audited itself, reported it appropriately, and now you want to make it into something, scandalize it, as it were, and make it into something that perhaps it's not. This is a hit piece. It is a hit piece. It is a hit piece, and we have to hit back. That's my point, and that's why we have to talk about Man City. Why are you quiet about this? Why is it not an issue to you? Why? Because you've been greased. You have a vested interest in your silence. But Chelsea haven't greased you. Chelsea are playing it clean. They have they have an ownership that's not prepared to grease the media, brown envelopes, and then they have a fan base with gentlemen like yourself trying to play it by the rules and trying to take it for what it is. No, this is a vicious world. And if you don't bitch like them, they're going to swamp you and take you down. That's just my take on the whole thing. I'm not staying quiet with this. I'm calling it
No,
for
I
what it
understand.
is.
Here's the thing. I'm not staying quiet either. I will be talking about it, but I don't know how to start asking how about Man City, whereas they haven't passed a judgment yet. They just charged them, and they
Coach,
responded.
you don't know how to do that because you're a fair guy.
No, no, no. Here's the thing,
you're
Bobby.
not
Here's my point. Here's my
you're not
point.
into bitching. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Here's
So
my
these
point,
things are
Bobby.
happening, and you're trying to rationalize it within the boundaries of your reasoning as a fair human being. And you're 100% right. I'm prepared to go toe to toe with these bitches. I think they're hitting the club. And if they want to get dirty, I'll get dirty too with the things I say. And the more people like me, the better, the more we can keep back this horde, some of them pretend to be Chelsea journalists. They're not Chelsea journalists, they're Chelsea trolls, and they're trying to hurt the club, and it should not be accepted. So you're good.
I'll
You
get
know what
back
I'm
to you in a
saying?
bit. Mitchell, thank you for 2 months membership. He says thank you for all your support. I appreciate all your support too, Michi. I think you've supported me even more, so thank you. The scared what Chelsea is cooking, that may well be the case. Let's see what else we
Yeah.
have here. I resonate with Bobby's sentiments. I think I understand where he's coming from, but I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Yeah, it's wise to ask the question, how about City? But does he help our case? In all
Yes.
honesty, I don't think it does.
In
I don't
this
think it does.
arena,
We've reported ourselves. We've actually paid a fine to UEFA for that. UEFA have
coach,
fined us.
in
If anything, the question we should be asking is this: the fact that during a self audit, we found the irregularities, and reported it to the appropriate authority. How lenient are they going to be? Are they going? Do you think it ends up being just a monetary fine, or do you think they still it still be a point deduction? I'll come back to you, Bobby, in a bit. Big up to you, too, Kishon. I hope you're doing well. At worst, I see a monetary fine. It occurred under a previous owners under a previous owner, and we self-reported way different from City's 115. That's what I'm saying. City's case hasn't been closed. Chances that they face an even a more severe punishment than point deduction or monetary fine, in
they're,
my opinion.
they're not going
Because
to,
again,
coach.
I'm going to repeat this. We found during the self audit, we found the irregularities. I can't say this word correctly, and we
Mhm.
reported it. To me, I don't think it helps us to be mentioning how about City. Maybe
It,
we
it,
should be fighting and saying, yeah, good thing we reported it, which means we're clean. We don't want to you can say indulge in such malpractice. We're being truthful. We don't want to be part of it because we're not actually we could have just, you could say, swept the whole thing under the rug and not report it, but we did. That's the point I'm making. Are they going to be
coach,
lenient?
the
Are they going
club,
to go ahead and deduct them? You can say and
the
punish us
club,
with points deduction with this because we're Chelsea. But go ahead,
the
Bobby.
the the club has already said that. The club has said that loud and clear. The club is not saying anything different to what you're saying. These are the trolls. They're bitching. They're trying to hurt the club. They're trying to poison minds. We can't have that. We can't have that. We can't stay quiet. They want you to be quiet, so they will swamp you with their propaganda. You've got to kick back, and you've got to walk into that arena. The formal administrative part of it is separate from what we're talking about here. What we're
Mm.
talking about is what has been released by the media into the world and his wife. And we are in that arena and we've got to fight back because they're trying to hurt us. They're trying to influence things, and things
Yes,
can,
then,
whether
Bobby.
you
I'm
like
not
it or
quite
not.
clear how you want us to fight back. Can you be specific? Be specific. How
Well,
how do
this
we
is part
fight
of
back?
it. This is part of it. What I'm saying, everything I'm saying now, if it's put out there in the media like I've been putting out, I can see one or two content makers are also putting it out. This is bitching. They want to hurt us. This is just a witch hunt. They're hurting the club. They're releasing negative information about Chelsea Football Club like they always do. We have to hit back. Enough is enough. Call it for what it is. We can't just stay quiet and say, oh, well, the system is working. It'll be. No, they're bitching against us, coach. They want to hurt this club. They don't like us. They want us to be backwards. Anytime we take a step forward, they want to hit us with all kinds of things to send us back. No, we've got every right to ply our trade like everybody else, but they make a special case of Chelsea every single time. No, we have to stop that. You try that with Liverpool, the fan base will hit you back hard. You try it with Man United, the same thing. Why should Chelsea be quiet? No, no, we're not going to be quiet.
Yeah, just give me a
We're,
second here. I share Bobby's perspective on the workings of the media, and I couldn't agree more. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a stark reality. Fight back, it says Kishan. And Michi is saying, just saying hello to Kishan there. Kishan sharing the link to his YouTube channel. If you're not yet subscribed to Kishan's YouTube channel, please go check it out and do that. Here's the thing, Bobby, I want to say this, and I like it that I'm having conversation. You can say this particular conversation with you and you alone, because I think probably you're one of those that will go into detail. I know that will go into detail on how to fight back, on how to, you can say, be vocal about how to get, you can say, how to fight back in the sense of by doing something that will help ensure that we don't face a severe punishment that will lead, you can say, be detrimental to the club's progress in terms of the project right now. But I'll come back to you in a bit. Just give me a few seconds here. Nice to see you, bigger brother. I hope you're doing well.
I can answer that, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate you finding
and I will
time.
answer that.
Yeah. Here's the thing, Bobby. If we're being honest here, we're not this. We're talking about trial by media, like you called it, and correctly so. These days, a lot of people suffer for what they do. You can say what they don't, what they didn't do. Some people suffer for what they didn't do. What is called, you can say, what's it called, the something, a public trial in a public court of law, something like public opinion. Something
people have been convicted because of the media.
Here's where this differs. We've agreed something is wrong. The difference is that we're saying whatever the irregularities that were found while self-auditing didn't happen under the current ownership. It happened under the previous ownership. So yeah, I think the only sensible argument we should be presenting is that we reported the irregularities.
Coach,
we saw it, and we're not obliged to do so. We just had to, because we're clean people, because we don't want to indulge in such. That's why we're reporting it. That's the only, you can say sensible argument to prevent if we are in a court of law. I get your argument that we have to fight back. And the media by trial thing, but go ahead, trial by media thing you talked about. Go ahead.
However, anybody wants to present their case, my point is, don't be quiet, present it. If you want to say that, push it out somewhere in the media. You don't have to do much. You don't have to go out on the streets and protest. No, you just push your own publication, either on Twitter, either just as we're doing now, we're discussing, because the narrative must be countered with another perspective. Because what they're trying to do is control your mind in a certain way against Chelsea Football Club. We can't have that. Now, if you're a gentleman and you want to say, okay, we have presented our audit, we're doing it the clean way, fine. If you want to hit back to the bitches like I do and call it a hit piece and call it what it is, better. But we can't be quiet. That's my point. You must say something, because these people are saying something. This is a hit piece on the footballing community against Chelsea Football Club. We cannot be quiet. Whatever anybody says, I'm not saying, protest. I'm not saying, riot or anything. No, I'm just saying respond. We can't stay quiet and not respond. And I'm so happy that we've got a good number of Chelsea content makers who are responding. This is your response, in a way. It's not tame. It's judicious. Others have called it a witch hunt. Others have said what it is. This is what we're about. We have to say it for what it is. BS. This is trying to influence whatever the footballing authorities are doing to Chelsea to magnify it, to make it more than it should be. No, we can't have that. We've got to speak out. They've got to hear the voice of the Chelsea faithful, because there's no other big club you can do this to and get away with it, especially if they've been transparent. I mean, come on. No, absolutely not. I will not be quiet. No way.
Yeah,
No
I'll
way.
come back to you. I totally understand what you mean. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a bit. They're saying that they are going to take as much action as they did for City. I wouldn't use that term, and that's because City's case isn't closed. The government has presented the charges, 115 in total. I think I can't quite remember the exact number. And City, they're denying it. So if anything, they're going to go. The whole thing will land in the court. In the courtroom, and probably for a prolonged period. And I did talk about that when that came out. I don't. They have enough money to hire the best lawyers in the UK or from wherever they want to, and yeah, and have them defend them.
Yeah,
I say
but
that.
meanwhile, while we're waiting for them and their lawyers to do whatever they want to do,
Mhm.
why aren't they suspended? There must be a suspension of something put on them. Why? Because they've greased whoever. You know that's the difference, and I'm not going to be quiet about that. These people, whoever is writing and putting out these articles, wants a penal punishment on Chelsea Football Club for honesty and for coming out and speaking openly. Whereas there's another club that's hiding, ducking, and diving, and you're condoning it. Absolutely not. I ain't staying quiet about that. Not in a month of Sundays. I'm going to push back on these bitches because they're
All right. All
bitching
right.
against the club.
I'm coming back to you, Bobby. I will come back to you in a bit. Liverpool fans would strongly resist it. Do you think Chelsea fans are resisting? Have you been on X this morning? Have you seen tweets? Some Here's the thing,
Yeah, to be
especially if
fair,
you
that they
mention,
are resisting.
yeah,
Thank
not
God,
if
to
I
be
think
fair.
it's a lot actually. Maybe
Yeah.
I've taken my time to look at it. Here's the thing, especially if you talk about it and mention suggest that if in fact Chelsea did that, and if Chelsea, and again, if they end up finding Chelsea guilty, that it will tarnish a romance legacy. If you say that, people will deal with you on X. So I don't think so. It doesn't differ for any club. You still get the same reaction. The question is, how much can the fans' reaction influence the outcome of whatever measure of punishment that the FA wants to, you can say, put out against the you can say
The club.
the club
Well,
in question.
if
Yeah.
it doesn't influence the outcome, it will influence the narrative. And right now, they're trying to create a hyper negative narrative around the club. We don't need that. We've been honest, and that
Here's
has to be
here's
pushed forward.
and
Pushed
Bobby, in
forward.
all honesty, here's the thing. I think um, it's something as if Chelsea committed, you can say, the most atrocious, you can say, malpractice, for lack of a better language. If you're paying attention, these are money being paid to agents through third party institutions called sometimes offshore accounts and all that. I don't think it's anything new. I don't think it's anything new. I'm
I
not
don't
sure
think
how
so
it's.
either.
Yeah, I'm not sure how else to phrase it. But the fact is, the owners don't want to be, you can say, indulge in such practice, and that's why
Yeah.
they reported it, because they don't have to. And
No.
then if they don't, nobody will know. And if they didn't, and if they don't, and you bring it up saying they did that, they will deny it, take you to court, and you will stay in the court for a million years and nothing happens.
Coach,
That's the truth.
at
Yeah.
this point, this is not about the owners. Neither is it really about the football authorities. This is about the media. This is where the battlefield is. And thankfully, we do have, the Chelsea fans have responded to this. And I like the way they've responded. You don't have to be aggressive, you have to meet it with what is being put out there. People, sometimes you can make a sentence and it will carry so much weight that it will create a narrative. Now, these people publishing this are trying to create a negative narrative against the club. And a lot of the fan base are saying, oh, hang on a minute. Enough is enough. What are you on about? We've just done this in good faith, and now you're trying to make it as if we have committed the worst financial impropriety ever known to football, just more or less as you've alluded to. And we're saying, no, we're not having this witch hunt on us all the time. We've done this, we've exposed it, let it go through the proper processes. But you trying to make out that Chelsea is this, that, and the other as usual, you stop right now. You stop this right now, because there are so many other clubs that have done things that is not even being talked about. And vis-a-vis, we have the biggest high profile situation of a 115 charge situation that hasn't been answered, and you're quiet about it. You want to make this a big deal? No way. We can't have that. And I'm glad we're responding.
Yeah, let's say that again, some people are dealing with it in different ways. For instance, Johnny Mineros is trying to blame the new owners for, you could say, self-reporting it. Liverpool fans, I think and Chelsea fans are reacting to. Big up, yep, Sub. Thank you for that. Too many mitigating factors. Not enough time for due diligence by Boehly, but CFC, they've been transparent, unlike City. That's why I'm saying the cases differ. And I'm quite sure City will, in due time, face punishment, no matter how long it lasts in the court of law. And here's the thing, I applaud the Chelsea owners for being upfront about it, for self-reporting the irregularities. In my opinion, I think it helps them. It will make the FA to consider carefully before wielding whatever, before wielding, you can say, the punishment. For lack of a better language, in my opinion, I think that will go a long way for Chelsea, honestly, because they don't have to. They've been transparent, unlike City. The media knows these, but have concluded on PTS on points deduction. In my opinion, they think that will end up being the case. Do I think that would be the case? I don't think so. I think the most likely outcome will be a monetary fine, and the UEFA has set the precedent by fining Chelsea and not no further punishment. Chelsea paid the fine, and that's it. With UEFA, they've settled the case. They've set the precedent, and I don't think the FA will go beyond the monetary fine and deduct points from Chelsea Football Club. I don't think so. It will be unfair, and I don't think Chelsea will take it lightly. Sit back and say, "Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll take that." No, I think it will end up being a monetary fine, in my opinion. Good night to you. To see you tomorrow, Mitchell boy. And it's saying, I agree with Bobby all the way. You agree with Bobby all the way. We cannot be quiet with all things. With all this gang up against us, I still don't understand why we got a sanction and Arsenal was not. Our fans need to hit the streets in demonstration. I don't think demonstration changes anything. I think I totally understand the power of the media, which Bobby has talked about. Which is, you have to be vocal. You have to say, "Oh no, foul play there. I don't agree. Why would this happen to us? And why this happened? Why as such? You can say a punishment. You can say." Why hasn't the other club faced a punishment of the same measurement of the same measure? I think that would go a long way. But do I think it changes anything with regards to us facing some measure of punishment? I'd say no. I'd say we will, but talking about it like as we're doing now, and Bobby stating clearly he thinks it's witch hunt, that may well go along with. Do I think definitely that would be the case? I would say no. I don't believe that would be the case. For me, the sensible argument would be: look, we have new owners, and everything that happened, the you can say the irregularities happened under the watch of the previous owners and previous owner, because a single individual at the time, and not under the current owners. So yeah, I think that will go a long way. That argument in the court of law, will go a long way. But I'd say as calling it a witch hunt, no, I don't think. No, maybe the fans can maybe be audible, be vocal about it, call it a witch hunt, start mentioning the sanctions for what that the club, the fans knew nothing about, or knows nothing about, whichever way you want to go with it, whether past or present. To the sanctions we faced at the time from monetary sanctions and all that. Maybe that's the way again for the fans, but for the owners, I think they've done the right thing. I don't think they should wait for the fans to be the one to advocate for the effort to be lenient, or not even not punish the club at all. In my opinion, I think they've done the right thing, but we'll wait and see. Man City's case isn't closed yet. I think they will face some punishment at some point. Under U.S. law, the owners of a sports club or their team could only face a punishment if the new owners were aware of or complicit in the malicious deal, and they're not. They're not in any way. If this matter is being considered in the UK, we would need to examine the applicable laws. I think, yeah, yep, it has to. We have to. We need a massive banner for Roman at the home game. Let's call out their shameless bias and hypocrisy. Do I think this is the time? Maybe would that make a difference? I don't know. But whatever anybody feels like they have to do to, you can say, to maybe I don't know, try by media, like Bobby mentioned. Whatever you know you have to do that will wield some measure of influence with regards to the sort of punishment that Chelsea will end up facing. Do it. Do I think we'll face some punishment? I'll say yes. The question is, what measure of punishment are we going to face whenever the effort gets to decide that? I don't know. Big up, Perspective family. Big up to you too, brother. Glenn 10, always nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Glenn says, cannot really talk right now, but I will say this. It's really, really convenient that these charges pop up now. Yeah, at the time, that we're starting to show that we're making progress. So maybe it's just the media, really, because like Bobby said, there's nothing new here. We've heard this before. The only thing new is that some journalists in Germany and other places who following the trail of money and all that, reporting more Eden Hazard, how we paid his agent and all that, Antonio Conte's hiring by Chelsea and all that nonsense. They have been investigating this for 2 years now, but there are some new information emerging that led to people talking about that has led to people talking about it again. But Glenn, nice to see you. Even got cleared by you can say got cleared by UEFA. Yeah, we paid the fine. UEFA couldn't do much than to fine us, and we've paid the fine. So to me, I'm not too concerned. I don't think the FA would deduct points. I don't think so. I don't think the punishment will be points of deduction. You could argue that UEFA has they've set the precedent, in my opinion. Let's face it, the powers that be do not want us to be here. You could argue that, given everything that has happened to us, the resilience and backbone that Chelsea have displayed is remarkable, so to speak. The fan base are loyal. They will fight and rage against the machine at the right time. I would say at the right time, because right now, nobody's quite sure the sort of punishment we will face. But I think we will face some measure of punishment. And I'm going to still say this. I'm not going to go about it by, you can say, screaming how about Man City. I will wait. The charges are still there. The charges has not been dropped. They're denying it. That's the difference. That's why I'm saying it really doesn't make sense to be screaming, how about Man City? How about Man City? No, they're denying it. In our case, we reported the irregularities to the appropriate authority, and I think we did the right thing. In their case, I think they will face more severe punishment than monetary fine, in my opinion, given the fact that they're denying it, because they have money to hire lawyers to stretch the whole thing or to prolong the whole process. Drop of hat. We are the gatekeepers of London. Just ask Terry for his stream stats on your match days. He said we break a YouTube record, and he is externally grateful. We are the Charles, and we are here to stay. So they can't do anything to us. So I like that. And trust me, in 10 years, there will be charges towards Bali because no millionaire is is a shady billionaire, so to speak. Okay, let's start from millionaire. That is for me. Listener only mode again. Take care of yourself, brother. I hope you're doing well. Bobby, let's hear you. How soon before we hear from the FA on what you can say what line of action they take against us, because definitely they would do something, especially given the fact that we're talking about Chelsea Football Club. But let's hear you. How soon do you think, or how long before we'll hear from them?
To be honest, Coach, I really don't know how soon we'll hear from them on this matter. I don't think their response has yet been assessed or adjudicated.
Or they haven't said anything?
They haven't said anything. I don't even think there's maybe it's in deliberation. I don't know at what stage the review of what has been presented to them is. But what I know, and I will continue to say, is that this is a hit piece. The fact that this has been released now in during the international break, where they know fans are more attentive to whatever they see on media and social media. It is a piece that was released to dictate the narrative, the negative narrative against Chelsea Football Club. It was a malicious thing. Now, will it influence the decision? I don't know. The intention is to influence the decision for sure. Whether it will succeed or not, I don't know. But you see, a narrative is a very powerful thing. If you keep calling somebody a certain name, certain people will start to believe it. And it is our job to make sure that that name, that mud they're trying to stick on Chelsea Football Club doesn't stick. And we shine the light back to those that are trying to tarnish this club. That's what we're here for. My goodness me, try this with Liverpool. Try it. I dare you. Try it with Liverpool Football Club and see how their fans, their ex players, and all these people will come at you with a venom. This is unacceptable. All this talk of points deduction, Chelsea have done it. It is unacceptable. And every single Chelsea fan, every man and woman Jack should have something to say about this. Hit back at the media through the media, because that's where they're trying to hit at you. That's all I have to say. This is a hit piece. I will keep saying it. They've chosen the time, they've chosen the place. Oh, Chelsea, too much positivity around them. They played two good games. People are talking about their young squad. The narrative is positive. Right, let's hit them where we can pull them down. They have been trying to hurt this club for years. For years. We need to stop that. That's my angle. It's not so much what the outcome would be, it's the narrative. It's the, court of public opinion that they're trying to hit the club with. And we are the public, so we have to own the opinion.
Yep, just quickly, I'll come back to you in a bit. But just give me 1 second. Let me get this from my bro there, the Bluetooth again. He says that the experts have said that the Manchester City charges will take approximately 2 to 3 years to be implemented. So that being said, our charges will probably take 2 to 3 weeks to be implemented. Yeah, because it's Chelsea Football Club. Here's the thing I want to ask you, Bobby. Uh, 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 would you say that UEFA they fined Chelsea? I think it was yeah it let me see that yeah, they fined Chelsea 8.6 million pounds for the same case that being again that we're talking about right now. Would you say that they've set the precedent, which means we're not going to face a deduction but a monetary fine? I think that's going to be the case. What do you think?
You could be right, but remember, as I told you earlier on in this program, you're a decent man. You work on the premise of fairness, sportsmanship, and so on. And that's a good thing to be. I don't know what position they'll take. They always seem to make an extra case when it comes to Chelsea. There's always something else. They go extra. They gave us a 2-season ban. No other club in the history of football yet to date has had that sort of penalty. Not PSG, not Real Madrid, nobody else. And they've violated so many things along the path. The only top club that has really been penalized is Chelsea Football Club. Why is that? Why is that narrative? It is a narrative that dictated the rule. So I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. Am I concerned? Not really, because it's quite clear that if they become too harsh, it would be unfair. That's why the fan base should not be quiet. We need to point it out because the narrative is powerful. The narrative dictates a lot of things. There was a narrative against Roman Abramovich. They tried to call him this, that, and the other. There's some people called him a gangster. Some people, oh, this, oh, Roman, this. Look, I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't know his personal dealings. All I know is that he was a generous owner that loved my club. He was a genuine fan. Now, are you going to hurt the club and the other people that are invested in the club because of your hatred? No, we can't let this go. We must speak up. And I'm not saying go and be talking nonsense and things. Just say what you got to say about it. Simple. If
Or
it's
say
one,
something that makes sense.
exactly. If it's one paragraph, this is a hit piece. That's enough. We have to be vocal. We have the Chelsea fan base presence needs to be seen on social media and in the media because they're trying to hurt us, and we have to call it out for what it is. It's a hit piece. It's BS, and we have to flash it back. It's got nothing to do with whatever judgments or whatever outcomes this is going to incur. Those that are going to review it and make up their minds, they're on another platform. But let's make sure that the influence of this sort of poison doesn't get to them and start to dictate what they're going to do. And that's our job. That's my point. I'm not staying quiet with this at all.
Yeah, but we have to be strategic about it, yeah, because there are some things you would say just wouldn't make sense to, and it would just be clear that whatever we're saying is driven by our emotions. But if we can be strategic, you can just, if you want to talk about, say it's a hit job, but you start mentioning the war in Ukraine and that the fans we know nothing about, but we got punished for it to an extent where there were you can say what's it called, income restrictions at the time, and that to an extent where the manager was saying, did say at the time he wouldn't mind driving the bus to drive us to where we had to play. I think, yeah, if you have to say it's a hit job, you have to, you can say, present it in the manner that when somebody looks at our showcase, it will be believable, because you
No,
can't just say, yeah, if you
I
get my
I
point.
can't. You and I can't dictate what people are going to say.
No,
People
I'm
will
just saying,
say,
I'm just advising people it's not
yeah. I
possible.
mean,
Yeah.
they they will say what they will say. Football's an emotional business, and so people are going to speak from their emotions. That is a given. But the fact of the matter is that they need to speak. This whole thing was an emotional thing anyway, to start talking about points deduction where no decision has been made is emotional, one may say. So I don't think the Chelsea fan base are that stupid, to be honest. I think they will know what to say. From everything I've read so far, certainly from the content creators and the big subscription people, some of the things I've read have been almost what I'm saying. They've called it what it is. Now, you know, take from that whatever you will. But I can assure you, if this had been Man United or Liverpool or even Arsenal, their fan base are going to come for you with venom, and they will change the narrative. Our job is to change the narrative because the purpose of this is to introduce a negative narrative during the time people have the time to to listen to it. No, we have to drown this out and let them know, do you know what, this time you failed. We're not having this. We're not having this because we've not really done much wrong. If anything, we've done things right. So give the club its due. The fact that they've exposed this, they've audited it, and they've reported it should be enough for you to say, okay, let's move on. There's not too much to see here. Let whoever is there want to make their decision and leave it at that. Don't start trying to influence the decision. Oh, what about, oh, you could get 3 points here. This is all malicious journalism. They're just putting out narratives so that a negative narrative is, gathers momentum. No, we shouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, it has the Bluetooth again is saying we all know that the punishment will be the whole what the punishment will be, so to speak. The whole point of these is to handicap the club and ultimately relegate us. A monetary fine won't be enough. Here's the thing. I'm going to come back to that. The UK government seized a 4.3 billion pounds club, and Roman laughed in their face and wrote off the debt. You can guarantee it will be a point deduction. I don't think it will be a point deduction. Here's why I'm going to say that. One, three reasons why it will not be a point deduction. If we end up again, we will face some punishment, and I don't think it will be points deduction. And here's why. One, we had it happened on the watch of the previous owner, not the new owners. Two, during a self audit, they found the irregularities and reported it to the right authorities. Three, UEFA has set the precedent by just imposing a monetary fine on Chelsea and nothing further. I think if they go beyond a monetary fine, I think the owners will not take it and just say, okay, thank you. No, I think they will sue them in a manner they haven't seen before. So those are the three reasons why I don't think it will be a point deduction, in my opinion. I don't think so. I don't think so. Plus, this club has suffered enough. You can say I don't. I'm not sure what else to say, but those are the three reasons why I think it will not be a point deduction. It just doesn't make sense. Looking at this as a finance perspective, the organization did something wrong and benefited. Change of ownership does not exempt organization from its deep. But here's the thing. But the argument that it happened under the previous ownership it's you can say it's concrete, in my opinion, for lack of a better language.
You see the purpose of the narrative.
Yeah.
This is the example of the purpose of the narrative. People forget that football is a unique industry. You can't apply the kind of parameters of a normal kind corporate industry into football. Why? Because it's a sport. And if you want to blame, I mean, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? You can look back in the 70s to what could be perceived as improprieties of some of the successful clubs back then. Now, do you now punish them in a whole new and different setup? Of course not. It's a worthless exercise. But the fact that somebody has said this has just highlighted my point. This is the narrative. They want to create the narrative to penalize and vilify the club. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not
Yeah, I
accepting that.
think I don't think I disagree with this. They're not exempt from. I think you can say they're not entirely exempt from punishment because it didn't happen under their watch. The entity still exists. The entity will face a punishment, but I think the punishment the entity will face reduces. Yeah, given the fact that the club is under a new ownership right now, in my opinion, to making a pushback will not help us help our case. Boehly did the right thing by informing himself. This might soften the punishment. That's how I see it too. The fact that they found the irregularities and reported it to the right authorities, I think they will be lenient. I don't think it will be point deduction. If that happens, then we'll wait. Then that's when I'll lead the church to be asking the question when the city face their own judgment. Let's see what measure of punishment they'd face. I don't think it will be point deduction. I hope you're right, coach, because you usually are. But I cannot see the points of all of these because they know we can pay any fine they throw at us unless Bobby is right and this is all smokes. Here's Bobby. Yeah, there's a chance Bobby is right, but I'm just saying I don't think it will be points of deduction. It just doesn't make sense. If they do that, the owners will sue them. They're not going to take it and say thank you. Okay, we agree. No, I don't see that happening. And remember, I told you UEFA has set the precedent. I will not comment on other clubs unless proven guilty. Which was again, here's the thing. I said something to similar, but I understand where Bobby's argument is coming from. I think we should just stick with this. This looks like a witch hunt. Why Chelsea all the time? Because
Can I
mentioning Man
just,
City, I'm coming, Bobby. Man
yeah,
City's case isn't closed yet. Yeah, we could. That's what I'm saying. Our case is different in so many ways. In our case, the management informed and accept there was something wrong. Yeah, and I'm coming
can
to
I
you in a
just
bit, Bobby.
answer that?
I know. Just one second, just two more comments.
Yeah.
Any company is not is an ongoing concern. Shareholding structure changes. Shareholding structure changes does not exempt the organization of the deeds. By the way, CFC avoided paying taxes for job done in UK and would be liable as an organization. I haven't heard that one, but that's by the way. The rules and laws applies the rules and law applies very clearly. If we did something wrong, we take punishment and move on. Here's the thing: the owners saw it and realized something isn't quite right here and reported it to the right authorities. But that's a different thing altogether. Bobby, let's hear you. You were trying to say something.
Yeah, and you know, I take issue. I was taking issue with one thing, but I'm going to take issue with two,
Go
because
ahead.
now people are lying. You know, somebody talking about Chelsea not paying taxes and all that. That's an outright lie. I don't know where they got that one from, but this is what I'm saying about the narrative they're trying to put out there. The second thing I'm taking issue with is this aspect of not calling out a club until they're proven guilty. Well, I beg to differ. A charge is not an accusation. A charge is that, look, there is evidence against you. Answer them. That's what a charge is. It's not an accusation. It's a fact. You have done this. This is the evidence against you. Now you can disprove the evidence, but we have the evidence. That's the difference. So that's not a light situation. And when you there's 115 and you're coming after a club for whatever or whatever, in my view, it's you're trying to create a diversion, a distraction, because nobody ever pulls any punches when it comes to punishing Chelsea. We've gone through a punishment that has been unprecedented. And I call it a punishment because even if the owner was the big bad wolf and he did this, that, and the other in whatever, wherever capacity, innocent people that were associated with the club were punished. You prevented this club from doing business. How malicious is that? People that earn their money through plying their trade with the club could not ply their trade because of something they had absolutely nothing to do with. You gave this club a two transfer window ban that has never been given to any other top flight club. None. All that has been
Yeah.
influenced by
Yeah,
all that has been.
and let me get some of the comments here. And I was going to ask you this question, but I don't see in a world where the FA end up telling Chelsea, "You just won." No, I think they will most definitely punish us one way or the other. The question is how much punishment, the measure of punishment we'll face. I
Oh,
wonder
they
if
love
Bowling.
punishing Chelsea. They don't hold back.
Yeah, they
That's
don't
the
hold back.
point.
Yep,
That's my point.
especially when the fact it is Chelsea. I wonder if Bowley knew beforehand that that's why he got rid of the people that was under remand. Did we hear anything with regards to him to Bowley and co firing people in the accounting department? I didn't hear such. That may well be the case, but we don't know. There's no way to tell if that was the case. JC saying if staff and players were paid in offshore companies for doing their jobs in the UK, labor law calls it a tax avoidance unless the income tax was paid on that income since. But here's the thing, Jerry, I think you're the one producing this right now. I haven't seen anywhere saying Chelsea avoided paying taxes. Yeah, but you're the one thinking maybe given this what the labor law that you're mentioning means that Chelsea avoided taxes and paid offshore 99% of confidence. A lot of clubs do that. That's a tax, a fine coming too. Okay, you think it comes? Okay, we'll find out. Coach, I do see where you're coming from. After all, if they give us 3 points for one charge, what would be the point tally for City? 115, League Four. They land in League Four. So their case isn't closed yet. They're just denying it. So I think we'll face a lesser punishment, in my opinion. Most definitely, I think it makes sense that we'll face most definitely face a lesser punishment. That's how I see it. They will face you say more punishment than us. But I don't know the severity of the punishment they will end up facing. And but I'm quite confident we're not going to face a point deduction, in my opinion. You practice your trade in UK and got paid in offshore havens, whereby avoiding UK income. You think it's going to be an issue, but as of yet, I haven't heard anything that says Chelsea have broken tax laws. You don't
Those were
pay
the
4
kind of
billion.
charges that were leveled against Man City. So there
Mhm.
are people now that are cross-purposing the whole damn thing and accusing Chelsea of things that Man City were accused of. This is why I'm talking about the narrative. They're
Mhm.
now vilifying the club, and people are extracting charges that belong to somebody else and labeling it on Chelsea to try and magnify this situation. What Chelsea have done has been exposed. This is what happened. There's no more, no less. But what I'm saying is that all this is to create more. And that's why we have to be vocal
They
about
are
it.
amplifying the whole thing.
Yeah, they're making it more than it is. People
Yeah.
adding to, oh, you're making offshore payments and all. These are the accusations that were leveled at Man City. Well, some of them, not at Chelsea. Chelsea have exposed what they have done, and whatever financial misappropriations were done by the former ownership. Now, if there were offshore payments included in that, I'm not too sure there were. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. If there were, it has been exposed.
Mhm.
Now, do you want to deduct 3 points? Okay, take your effing 3 points. Fine,
Yeah.
fine. But my point is that all this is as a result of trial by media and the negative narrative that's now being pushed out there. And I am highlighting it because if this influences the decision against Chelsea, it is wrong.
All right, let's see here. This says you don't pay 4 billion pounds and agree to be liable for another person's conduct 10 years ago. Yep, I agree with you. If not expressly started, it's implied that you are not at fault, especially given the short time for due diligence. I think I agree. I think Chelsea was given I don't what was the length of time at the time to sell the club. Otherwise, what was going to happen? I can't quite remember. Everybody goes back, including tax and revenues. I think I agree. But in terms of what happened on the previous owner, to me, I think there are you can say there are some caveats to that, in my opinion. This will be the best season to take points or penalties. I don't think it happens. But we have to be prepared for the worst. But I don't see it happening. If any, because three clubs are crap, and Everton will also get points deduction. So we surely will not be relegated. I'm not gonna even think about that. Much love to you, brother. I appreciate you saying that. I still have a few minutes here before I run. But thank you for reminding me, bro. Yeah, love you so much. We should be cool about it. Boehly informed will take any penalty, and let's move on with the topic. Let's not put a fuel to fire ourselves. We're not. I don't think. For me, I like I've told Bobby. I don't think we will influence anything that much, but we can actually fight back, fight those who are, you can say, taking it to the angle that, yeah, we're cheats. That's why we've won everything we've won. Those are the sort of people that I'm gonna come. I will, you can say, have an issue with on X, and tell them how I feel about them. And I'm waiting to hear Matt Fraudlaw say anything about it. He's the one that usually when he posts such, he you can say he sets it so that no only those he tags in the post will be able to comment. But I'm moving from that. Here's the thing: I'm not too worried about that. I've given you three reasons why I think it will not be the punishment will not be a points deduction, rather a monetary fine. I think that will most definitely be the case. Chelsea Godfather, people having a conversation here. Bobby, I want to ask you this, and I'm going to be specific. What's his name? Johnny Minerals on X blaming uh blaming the new owners. He's not even paying attention. He's not even saying with what case you're saying I think we need to fight for our club. We need to refute you can say whatever they're saying about it. We need to fight them. We don't have to just let them amplify the whole thing, or blow it out of proportion. In this case, he just finds a way to blame the new owners. I just don't know. What do you make of it? I think I'm going to find that and show it to you. But what
Mm.
do you make of that, really? um I don't think it's okay.
No, I mean, I've been very kind of quiet about Johnny Minerals. He's somebody that I really really liked, but he's been very much anti the Chelsea ownerships, which I have to say I don't agree with, and blaming them for anything and everything, I think is excessive. And he tends to do that these days. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I haven't sort of been following him that much in recent times because of that, because it's been too much for me, and too much of something I don't agree with. So I guess this will be no different to any other time he's taken issue with them. And it's his prerogative. It's his, every thankfully we're living in an environment where there's freedom of speech and you can say what you like. But I have to say I don't agree with this constant attack on the ownership. In
Yeah,
fact, it
look what he
concerns
says
me.
here, and he's gotten some Chelsea fan on his side. Look what he's saying here.
Oh, there will be, yeah.
Absolutely, the word here I'm not going to say absolutely f word. All would tarnish Don Roman's legacy at Chelsea, but let's have it right. Those clowns doing what a rat would do to cover themselves for all the mistakes. This is just more like a what a 19-year-old would do. Even if you have
Mm.
issues with the new owners, you don't to the extent. of blaming the current what we're hearing there, the topic we're discussing on the new owners. It says a lot about him as an individual, in my opinion. I think all he cares is just his followers who consume such a senseless, you could say, narrative that he often shoves off their throats. In my opinion, it just doesn't make sense. But let's hear you, Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, my take on it is that he's very emotional. That's number one. He really is. I personally believe he has a heart for Chelsea. I think he does. But people express their views or things that shape their views in different ways, and he's one of those people that if he has a view on something, that's it. He won't see it any other way, and he'll keep on with that view. And for me, it's been a little bit too much, so I just back off a bit until such a time as it cools down. Then I'll re-engage. But it's unfortunate. I don't know what to say. As I've said, it's been a while since I've kind of watched or listened to some of his material because of this reason. I think it's excessive. Now, are the owners saints? No. Does he have a right to have issue with them? I believe sometimes he has, but is it every single thing, every time you need to um, sort of attack the ownership? No, I don't agree with that at all. I really don't. I just think it's excessive, personally.
I think it's excessive indeed.
But it is what it is. He's not alone. There are others there. There's some that go the other way, and I think I would rather support them and and because I believe they're trying their best. This is a very difficult thing to do. Recreating a football club of this magnitude is not easy. You can't have it right. There's always going to be something you do that people will criticize. Why? Because they're unable to do what you're doing. Criticizing is the easiest thing on earth. I remember at one time somebody put a question to us about, being pundits and talking on platforms. And as far as I'm concerned, it's so easy to do that. Whereas actually being a manager, actually being a player, actually being involved, an owner is difficult. And
Very,
sometimes you
very,
just,
very difficult.
yes, extremely. And sometimes you just have to take a step back and give them the support they so sorely need. Because as we're beginning to see, the manifestation of certain decisions or certain steps being made now bear fruits XYZ down the line later. And sometimes it may not look great at the beginning, but in the end, you can see where it all comes together. And they need our support a lot of the time. In this instance, I don't know what to say. I don't think they've done the wrong thing. I really don't. They've noticed something, and in a way, they're trying to protect the club from any kind of future uh, uh, accountability for this issue that took place outside of their control. What do you expect them to do? What, to pretend that it didn't happen? I don't know. I'm confused. I mean, I don't think they've done anything wrong. My issue is not with the ownership. My issue is not even with the football authorities at the moment. My issue is with the narrative that's being thrown at the club. That's about it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bobby. I'm going to catch up with what we have in the chat here, and then we'll call it a day. This has been so delicious. It just looked like wish I had the time for us to continue. Let's see what we have here, Coach. Maybe there's a clause in the purchase agreement to the exempt to be exempt from any responsibility from the previous regime, which would make what Bobby is saying true. And this is all a pathetic attempt at whatever comes to mind. I think I agree, Chance, because these guys did not become billionaires by being stupid, in my opinion. Ethically, Bali has done the right thing we are CFC. Yeah, ethically he has. Let's see whether those again the powers that be will consider that. More than the club, they are like a barking dog with no teeth. They will not do us anything. Ignore Johnny Mineros. He's still butthurt about Mineros Mason Mount moving to Manchester United. He never stops talking about him. To be honest, coach, so nice to see. Yeah, I don't. I pick and choose, honestly. I think we were following each other before, but I think probably I saw something I didn't like and said, I'm not doing this. And at one point, actually, he did say he'd be on the show someday. One day, he promised 30 minutes. Just give him 30 minutes. He's going to be on the show. And I was praying, oh, God, let him not come and ask for the link. Yeah, I'm going to move on from that. We're not here to roast him. What about Man City breaching 115 FFP rules? I think they will face judgment. And Bobby will be proud of you for saying that. They will most definitely face judgment. If let's say if we face a year ban, they will face 10 years ban. If not, they're gonna be in serious trouble. That's a legal process and law would take its due course. I think I agree. In our case, management of club and ourselves accepted that, and which you could say leaves us. You could say when we're not going to be facing too much punishment, in my opinion. A lot of Chelsea fans with large followers on Facebook are posting in support of Roman, especially Nigerians in diaspora. I think here's the thing: you can't take away anything from Roman. Most of the Chelsea fans are fighting on X. They don't say much until you mention Roman's name, then you're in serious trouble. I don't think this changes anything about what Roman has achieved with Chelsea Football Club. It doesn't. Yep, and how he changed football globally, that doesn't change. Nobody can take that away from him. Clubs have committed worse offenses, in my opinion. Boehly and group did the right thing. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Just imagine finding these things and 5 years down the line, this comes out, I think would be in much worse trouble, in my opinion. They are proactive. That's how I see it. People should understand correctly the responsibility of the action of a club. Owners are simply shareholders. Owners are not liable parties. That's another way to see it. A lot of people saying, thank you guys. We got 2 subscribers for today. We'll try again. Yep, we'll continue to grow. And I think you should start. We should plan to stream on your panel too, on your channel too, so that we're selfless here, and that's how we grow. And that's it, Bobby. Anything else you want to say? This is delicious, bro. I like to listen to you talk about Chelsea or football, and the perspective you bring. And it's always nice to differ. When we differ, we'll learn from each other. But let's hear you, Bobby. Anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
Yeah, I mean, I always stand in defense of the club. That's my position.
And you think I
It
don't know?
uh, yeah, I know. I've punished you so much on your platform with that attitude. But that's my passion. Other people have other types of passion and other types of ways of following the club. I wouldn't call it
Mhm.
supporting personally, but that's what they do. As far as Roman is concerned, in my mind, I don't this can never tarnish his image. Roman was owning Chelsea at a very different time, at a time where a lot of the rules we have now did not apply. So in a way, it's a kind of mitigating situation. For example, when he first came to the club, there was no such thing as FFP. So who knows? Many things transpired, many um, dealings were already cast in stone before the authorities decided to introduce things like FFP and so on. And to me, that's all the more reason why the current situation cannot be found too much at fault. However, for me, the legalities, the rulings behind what is happening now is above board, and what will be will be. What my gripe is, it is the nature of the narrative. The fact that people are throwing things out there, talking about points deductions, they're already introducing a judgment where a judgment does not exist. And why I mention City is that there's less, I put Chelsea in in that position. My goodness me, there would be no peace. Nobody would be quiet. They would be insisting at the very least on a 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 window suspension. As long as it takes them to answer the charge, is as long as they would like Chelsea to be suspended from transfer dealings or something. There would be a pre-punishment to the punishment. That's my issue. The fact that they are all at ease with any other club, with any other issue. And when it comes to Chelsea, daggers are drawn. That's what I'm against and what I'm not prepared to stay quiet about. And that's just it. However, what the content of the matter is, what the structure and the outcome of the matter is, let those that are involved deal with it. Let's not create a media attitude towards the club because of it. That's my position.
All right, Bobby, thank you so much. I appreciate you finding the time to join me on the panel this afternoon. For me, I know it's evening for you, bedtime actually, but I appreciate you. Much love. I always like to debate with you because it's enjoyable, and you listen to me, and I listen to you, and we come to a sensible conclusion. Yes, we have to be vocal. We have to, you say, defend our club. When you hear people not just talk about what has happened, but suggesting that Chelsea should face punishment or that we've cheated our way and everything we've achieved has, you say, is a result again it's as a result of us cheating our way through the process and winning trophies and all that. Yeah, you don't keep quiet when you see such being said about our beloved club. With that, I want to say thank you to all of you. I want to say thank you to a lot of people, Mr. Ole, Mr. Jude, and thank you for finding the time to join the show this afternoon for me and JC and Courtney. Courtney, by the way, I haven't seen you in 1,000 years. I hope you're okay. I hope the case is simply that you've been busy. If that's the case, I'm happy for you, and that's because bills don't pay. I understand bills don't pay themselves. Hopefully, nothing has happened. And yeah, Pundim, nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Pundin, I appreciate you joining. Please be sure to subscribe. Chelsea Godfather, always nice to see you. And the Blue Tiff again, much love to you, brother. And then Jerry Z and Glenn 10, who was here. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. See you guys next time. God bless us all. And bye.
Big up, Coach.
Big up, my bro.